What's up everyone, it's Q from RetroQ Gaming, and I want to make a little bit of a strange video here. For the simple reason is, over the course of all my videos, be it positive or negative against whatever company or whatever manufacturer or developer, I've basically been called a fanboy of Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and PC, and I've been called a hater of Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and PC. So I figured that now would probably be the best time to actually talk about this in a sense of how I play games, and not so much why I play games, but how I choose to play games, and why I choose those ways. And I figured now was probably the best time to make this, because with all the consoles and platforms and all out there nowadays, and the kids these days and their Xbox onesies and their PS quadruples and their Nintendo Lite switches and the PC mustard race, I figured now would probably be the best time to explain it all, because essentially we probably have the best version of all of these platforms as it is right now. And while I will throw in just a little bit of retro in this video, the main thing I want to talk about is modern gaming and the current landscape of gaming. So of course by now you guys probably already know that yes, I do play all the platforms, because like I said, I have an Xbox One X, a PS4 Pro, a Nintendo Switch, and a high-end PC. Because regardless of what platform a game is on, if I want to play the game, I want to play the game. I'm not going to skip out on a game, just a game that I think looks good or think looks enjoyable, just because it's on a specific platform. So having said all that, of course there are certain preferences and certain exceptions I generally have. For example, naturally, I will play games on PC first if I can, for the simple reason is it will give me a better experience overall, because I have a nice high resolution, high refresh monitor and a powerful PC to go with it. So combine all of the high frame rates I can get with the high display resolution, the ability to play with graphics maxed out and still maintain my high resolution and high frame rate, and the ability to customize it in whatever way I need, be it mods in certain games, be it controller in certain games, mouse and keyboard. Obviously a mouse has far more accuracy and precision and response time than a joypad will, so usually it's my preferred way to play. But of course that doesn't mean I'm going to skip a game on a different platform. Let's look at this year alone. We've had excellent games on almost all the platforms. Look at the Nintendo Switch. We've had Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. Visiting the PlayStation family, I had Persona 5 on the PS4. Unfortunately the Xbox is lacking a bit when it comes to reasons to play it and all, but if a good game, an enjoyable game, a game that I wanted to play and wanted to experience only came out on Xbox One, I would buy it. Let me give you another perfect example. Granted, it's a little bit dated at this point, but I frequently play Halo 5 Guardians, a game that's not available on any other platform. Miss me with that Ford shit, fam. Same deal, Dead Rising 3 for example. Granted, when it first came out it was Xbox One exclusive, it did come to PC later, but I bought it on Xbox One because I wanted to play it. I bought the Xbox One because of Dead Rising 3. So that gives you an idea about the exclusive side of it. Now, I did briefly mention this when it came to talking about PC as well. If a game comes out on multi-platform, and let's just assume it comes out on everything, we know there's issues with Nintendo Switch getting third-party games and multi-plats, but we're going to kind of ignore that for the moment. Let's assume that a multi-platform game comes out on all 4 platforms. PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. I would buy the PC version for the reasons I've already explained. Now, if that game was only to come out on 2 platforms, or maybe 3 platforms, maybe all the consoles, I would buy it on whatever one would give me the best experience. Previously, that would have been the PS4 because of the higher power of the PS4 compared to the Xbox One. And of course, you could even factor in my PS4 Pro, which could make it even better. But now that the Xbox One X is out, in theory at least, this one should give me the highest possible quality non-PC game when it comes to it. Let's look at a game I've used before as an example, most recently in one of my videos. Kingdom Hearts 3 currently has no planned PC version. It may come much further down the line, years after release, but the game is currently only scheduled for release on PS4 and Xbox One. Now, because it's only coming out on both of those platforms, in theory, Square Enix would want to make that game look and run as good and as fluid as possible, so most likely it will run best on Xbox One X. Couple that in with the fact that I prefer the Xbox One controller over the DualShock 4, granted that's not usually a deciding factor, but the overall game experience is. I will likely be buying Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox One X. And this is generally my philosophy on how I've gamed over all the years, because I just want to play games. That's all it is. I want to play a game, whatever platform it's on, it doesn't matter, because I don't want to miss or skip out on an experience just because of whatever piece of hardware it's on. The actual company and brand behind whatever it is, the manufacturer, let's say it's of PC hardware, let's say it's Nintendo, let's say it's Sony, let's say it's Microsoft, hell, let's go even back further and say it's Sega. That essentially means nothing to me. I'm not going to fanboy behind one of them or defend one of them just because they've fucked up or done something wrong. I did promise to throw in a little bit of a retro twist in here too, so let me give you an example of how I use this philosophy over my entire life across all the console generations, as well as PC being factored in there the whole time as well, about how I stuck to all of this. Now granted, when I was much younger, it was a whole different ball game, for the simple reason is I was basically at the whim of whatever my mother chose to buy me, because as a kid you don't have a full source of income. So I mean, I started out on, depending on where you want to start, I started out on the Commodore 64, moved on to the Super Nintendo. I never had a Mega Drive until only a couple of years ago. I did play one consistently because one of my friends and his brother kind of shared. One of them had a Super Nintendo and the other one had a Sega Mega Drive. So I was still frequently playing that. But moving on to the PlayStation era, that's when it started to kind of open up for me and I had more options. Granted, it was Sony and they're making their first console, and Nintendo had been moving on to what would now be their third home console, but really only the second one I ever properly experienced back in the day. And I wanted to play a bunch of games on both platforms. I wanted to play great games like Mario, like Zelda, like Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, the THQ wrestling games. And of course, at the same time, I wanted to play a bunch of stuff that was only on PlayStation. Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider, the list goes on. I could go on all day. So naturally, I got my hands on both of these platforms. Moving forward again, PlayStation 2, I actually had a Dreamcast before the PS2, and I absolutely loved it. And then the PS2 came out, and there was a bunch of games that, yes, were Dreamcast ports. There were a bunch of games that were multi-plat, but of course there were also a bunch of games that were exclusive to the PlayStation 2, both first and third party. And naturally, I wanted to play a crap load of them because a shitload of them looked really good, and still are to this day. I mean, hell, look at Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 just off the top of my head as some of the highest quality examples. There's a huge range, but I don't want to make this video 45 minutes long listing off every single game. Again, the GameCube came out as well. You had a lot of great first-party titles, and you even had a couple of decent third-party titles. They were few and far between, but when they did come out, they were really damn good. And of course, I wanted to play all of those. Then Microsoft stepped into the game and released the Xbox, the OG Xbox 180, whatever you want to call it. And they had some, again, high-quality games that you couldn't find anywhere else, including Halo, Brute Force, and at first, the Splinter Cell game. And same deal, I wanted to play all of these games, so naturally, I got my hands on all of these consoles somehow. Moving forward again, 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii, same deal. At that point I had a full-time job and I was working my way up to getting all the consoles with high-end PCs, all the good stuff, because I wanted to play all the games. Moving forward again, Xbox One, got it on launch day. PS4, got it within a week of launch, which I think was kind of funny because I only got that one out of boredom really. Hell, I even picked up a Nintendo Wii U about a month or two after launch. Again, that one was kind of boredom. I looked at it more as an investment over the next couple of years, but it kind of backfired. Having said all that, I won't completely hate on the Wii U for the simple reason is it still has some decent games. Not many, but it still has some decent games. And that brings us to the modern era, which I've already explained, so you get the deal. We've got the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, the Nintendo Switch, and a PC, because as I've given complete evidence over all this time, I just want to play games, no matter what they're on. And yeah, of course, I'll criticize any company who does some bullshit practices, especially ones that used to be so great and so synonymous with the highest of quality of whatever, games, systems, hardware, anything that may or may not have fallen off due to whatever decisions. But at the end of the day, I just want to play the games. So that's it. Let me know in the comments section below. Do you guys feel the same as I do? Do you do this stuff the way I do? Do you think about any of this stuff logically and objectively, just like I do? Or do you think I'm just a damage controlling fanboy? Let me know all of that in the comments section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.